A lonely high school boy stumbles upon a diary in a hospital waiting room, and what he reads changes everything. It belongs to his cheerful classmate, who reveals in its pages that she's quietly dying from a terminal illness. But instead of pity, she offers him something else: her time. As the two begin to share ordinary moments, an unexpected bond forms, one that will shake his quiet world and teach him how to truly live. But fate has one final twist waiting. This is the hauntingly beautiful story of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. The story begins with a quiet and introverted high school boy, whose name is not revealed until later. He prefers to stay isolated, spending most of his time reading books and avoiding interaction with others. One day at the hospital, while waiting for a routine checkup, he stumbles upon a book titled Living with Dying, lying on a bench. Curious, he picks it up and starts flipping through its pages, only to discover that it's a personal diary. Before he can read much, his popular and cheerful classmate Sakura arrives and claims the book. To his surprise, she calmly reveals that she's the one who wrote it, and that she's suffering from a terminal pancreatic illness. Despite being a cheerful and sociable girl, Sakura has been hiding her condition from everyone except her family, and now, unintentionally, from him. The boy is visibly uncomfortable and unsure how to respond to the confession, but Sakura doesn't seem bothered by his awkwardness. Instead, she finds it amusing and intriguing that someone as reserved as him now knows her secret. She begins to involve him in her life more often, asking him to spend time with her and go on outings. Though reluctant, he finds himself going along with her requests. He's confused by her optimism and carefree behavior despite her grim diagnosis. Meanwhile, Sakura insists that she wants to live life to the fullest and have fun while she still can. She's drawn to his honesty and lack of pretense, and he, in turn, starts to slowly open up to her unconventional way of living. This unexpected connection marks the beginning of a unique and emotional journey between two contrasting personalities, one who wants to be left alone and one who refuses to face her fate quietly. After discovering Sakura's secret, the unnamed protagonist becomes inadvertently entangled in her life. Despite his introverted nature, he can't seem to ignore her presence anymore. Sakura, on the other hand, is intrigued by his blunt honesty and detachment from social norms. Rather than being treated with pity or sympathy, she enjoys how he continues to interact with her as if she were just a regular classmate. One day at school, Sakura approaches him again and invites him to hang out with her. She doesn't make a big deal about her illness, treating their interaction like any casual friendship. Though initially resistant, he reluctantly agrees. They go out to eat, and Sakura orders a parfait while teasing him about his expressionless reactions. During their conversations, she continues to refer to her death casually, which makes him visibly uncomfortable. Yet, he doesn't walk away. She appreciates that he's not trying to fix or comfort her, just listening and being present. Later, she takes him to the library and helps him pick a book, trying to understand why he enjoys reading so much. This moment reveals their subtle, growing bond. Although he's reluctant to open up, Sakura slowly draws him out of his shell. As their time together continues, Sakura suddenly invites him on an overnight trip. At first, he's shocked by her suggestion and asks why she would want to travel with someone like him. She shrugs it off playfully, saying it'll be fun, and that she wants to make memories with someone who knows her secret. Though he hesitates, he ultimately agrees to go. At school, rumors start to spread as classmates notice their growing closeness. Sakura's best friend, Kyoko, is suspicious of him and doesn't approve of their relationship. But Sakura brushes it off, confident in her choice. As they prepare for their trip, the two begin to navigate a friendship that's becoming more meaningful and more complicated than either expected. The trip begins with Sakura and the protagonist boarding a train together, headed for a distant city. The atmosphere is light and relaxed, with Sakura excited and full of energy, while the boy remains quiet and slightly awkward. They explore the city together, visiting a cafe, enjoying the sights, and taking photos. As the day goes on, they become more comfortable with each other, laughing and talking more freely. Eventually, night falls and they arrive at their hotel. To their surprise, only one room is available, with a single bed. The situation is uncomfortable for both of them. While the boy is clearly flustered, Sakura handles it with her usual carefree attitude, teasing him about the awkwardness. She changes into a bathrobe and lounges casually while he tries to stay composed. Sakura eventually brings up her illness again, asking him why he's still spending time with her despite knowing she's dying. He answers honestly, saying he doesn't have a reason, it just happened. She appreciates his sincerity and tells him that's exactly why she wants to be with him. She feels like she can be her true self around him. Later that night, Sakura unexpectedly climbs into bed beside him, startling him. She jokes that she wants to eat his pancreas, referencing the belief that eating a healthy organ could heal a sick one. The line is both strange and symbolic. It hints at her desire to be closer to him and to continue living. Night passes without anything romantic happening. The next morning, they check out of the hotel and return home. On the train ride back, Sakura falls asleep on his shoulder, showing how much she trusts him. This trip marks a turning point. Their bond is now deeper, filled with both comfort and unspoken emotions. After returning from their overnight trip, the protagonist and Sakura continue spending more time together. Their connection becomes increasingly noticeable, not just to each other, but to their classmates as well. People begin to whisper and question why the quiet, bookish boy is always with the cheerful and popular Sakura. Despite the attention, neither of them seems to care. Sakura keeps inviting him to join her for meals and outings. During lunch breaks at school, they eat together, laugh, and talk casually. Their conversations range from silly teasing to deeper, more personal reflections. While Sakura remains full of energy and smiles, the protagonist begins to show subtle signs of change. He smiles more, responds with less hesitation, and starts to genuinely enjoy her company. One afternoon, Sakura brings him to her house for the first time while her parents are away. The scene is calm and intimate. She shows him her room, and they talk while sitting on the floor. She continues to speak lightly about her illness and the idea of dying, even showing him her medication. The boy still struggles with how casually she treats her situation, but her strength and brightness have started to inspire him. At school, however, not everyone is supportive. Sakura's best friend, Kyoko, continues to express disapproval. She warns the protagonist to stay away from Sakura, claiming he doesn't understand her and might hurt her. Despite Kyoko's words, he stands his ground. As more time passes, Sakura begins to make a to-do list of fun things she wants to do before she dies, and she asks him to help her check off each item. From small things like eating her favorite food to bigger plans, every moment becomes more meaningful. Their time together transforms from simple companionship into something deeply emotional, even if unspoken. Though she never asks for anything in return, it's clear that she's giving him a gift too, teaching him how to live. The protagonist begins to realize that Sakura has changed him. He's no longer just a passive observer in life. Through her, he's learning how to feel, how to care, and most of all, how to live. After all the time they've spent together, Sakura and the protagonist decide to go on a real date. She's excited and sends him a message asking him to meet her the next day for a lunch outing. The protagonist, still emotionally guarded but clearly changed by their time together, agrees. The plan is simple, just lunch, but both of them seem to look forward to it more than they admit. The next day arrives, and the protagonist prepares to meet Sakura. Later that evening, he receives a shocking and devastating message on the news. Sakura Yamochi has died, but not from her illness. She was the victim of a sudden stabbing incident at a restaurant. Her death was random, cruel, and completely unexpected. The protagonist is overwhelmed by grief and disbelief. He never imagined that she would die like this, so suddenly without warning, and not because of her illness. It leaves him stunned, emotionally numb, and deeply lost. At school, rumors spread quickly, and classmates mourn her loss. Kyoko, heartbroken and in denial, refuses to believe that the protagonist had a close connection with Sakura. He doesn't know how to process the pain. He isolates himself again, haunted by the unfinished words, the missed date, and the silence that now surrounds him. The girl who changed his life is gone, and he didn't get to say goodbye. Eventually, he visits Sakura's house to see her parents. There, they hand him something Sakura left behind, a letter she wrote for him. This moment marks the beginning of a painful but healing journey. A piece of her remains waiting to be read, ready to show him that even though she's gone, her words still live on. He replays their last messages, her laughter, her words, especially the moment she asked him to meet her, and he never got to say goodbye. Eventually, he finds the strength to visit Sakura's home. Her mother welcomes him gently and gives him the letter Sakura had written for him, meant to be read after her death. He takes it home and finally opens it. The letter is heartfelt, sincere, and full of Sakura's usual charm. She thanks him for being by her side and for treating her like a normal person. She tells him that she cherished every moment they spent together, and that being with him allowed her to live as her true self. She admits that she had feelings for him, and that she knew he likely did too, even if neither of them said it aloud. She encourages him to continue living, not just existing, but truly living, to care for others, to make friends, to let himself feel. And finally, she leaves him with her biggest wish, that he opens up to the world and stops closing himself off. In a quiet, emotional moment, he breaks down. Her words cut through his numbness and begin to guide him out of the darkness. Soon after, he gathers the courage to approach Kyoko. She's still grieving and angry, convinced that he had no real relationship with Sakura. He shares the contents of the letter with her. As Kyoko reads it, she's stunned to learn how close they really were. Tears fill her eyes and she softens. The wall between them starts to break. Sakura's final letter doesn't just comfort him, it begins healing those she left behind. Her life, though short, continues to affect the people she loved. Through her final message, she gives him the strength to take his first steps toward a new life. Following the emotional impact of Sakura's letter and his conversation with Kyoko, the protagonist begins to slowly step out of his isolation. Her final wish, that he open his heart to others, resonates deeply. The quiet, book-loving boy who once kept to himself begins to change. He takes Sakura's words to heart and starts acting on them. One of his first steps is to call Kyoko by her first name, something Sakura mentioned in the letter he should do to show that he was moving forward. Though surprised and a bit emotional, Kyoko responds warmly. This simple exchange marks a genuine connection between them, Sakura's influence still quietly guiding both of them. In the final scenes, he visits Sakura's grave. Standing there, he speaks to her sincerely. He tells her that he's doing well, that he's slowly learning to live in the world she loved so much. He doesn't break down, but his voice carries both sorrow and quiet gratitude. He thanks her for changing him, for giving him something no one else could. As he walks away from the grave, the sun shines and the world feels alive again. Sakura's presence lingers not in sadness, but in the quiet joy of a life touched by love. The film closes with him finally revealing his name, Haruki Shiga, symbolizing his full emergence into life. No longer just an observer, but someone who lives, feels, and remembers. Sakura's story ends, but her impact lives on. Through her, Haruki has learned how to face the world, not with fear or avoidance, but with the courage to connect, just as she hoped. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.